President-elect Donald Trump has entered St. John's Episcopal Church with his wife, Melania, for a service ahead of the inauguration, taking part in a long presidential tradition. According to Associated Press, the Trump spent the night at Blair House and will head to the White House for a coffee and tea with President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden following the service.
How are you feeling about today? President Trump, what does today mean to you? President Trump, how are you feeling about today? What's your reaction to President Biden, his preemptive pardon to the January 6th member committee?
If something were to happen to Putin, Russian Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin will automatically become acting president, and it is quite possible that he will be elected as the new president of Russia, says Russian opposition political strategist Abbas Galyamov. In an interview with Elena Kirik for the YouTube channel Now, the expert said that Putin is not young after all, and rumours about his poor health and refrigerator do not arise out of nowhere. The analyst also gave a characterization of Mishustin. According to him, he is a largely apolitical character, very technocratic, that is, not militarily inclined, like, for example, Patrushev and Sechin. But in the current conditions, in a situation of growing protest sentiments and general confusion of the political class of the Russian Federation, this apoliticality has serious political potential. Galyamov said, "Few will hold Mishustin responsible for the war and for what is happening in the country. In this sense, he has potential. According to the political strategist, Putin is under constant stress because of the unsuccessful war and the shameful collapse of all his plans and hopes. In essence, The creation of a Russian army that would threaten the entire world was the core of his political project. And the fact that this army turned out to be of little use, and the entire world saw this, of course, creates very serious nervous tension. As is known, being under stress for a long time is fraught with serious health problems, although, of course, Putin has all the possibilities of medicine, both domestic and foreign, at his disposal. It is impossible to rule out that something will happen to him. And in this situation, Mishustin has a very strong chance, Galyamov noted. The Russian Prime Minister has a minimal anti-rating, the expert added. No one really likes him except for his closest circle, but at the same time, he has few enemies. And as practice shows, when a dictator leaves, it is precisely the minimal anti-rating that pushes a person to the surface. This was the case, for example, with Khrushchev, who became the leader precisely because he caused the least tension in everybody else. This was the case with Brezhnev after Khrushchev, and Mishustin in this sense may well take off, Galyamov emphasized. It is unlikely that the war will continue until 2026. The Kremlin expects to wind down the so-called special operation this year. This was stated by retired FSB colonel and political emigrant Gennady Gudikov. According to the politician, the Russian Army Command and representatives of the military industry support the war and want it to continue, but the economic bloc of the Russian leadership is in favour of a speedy end to the aggression. A lot of officials don't want war. They understand that a war of attrition is beyond their capabilities. The Soviet Union overextended itself, and it was tougher than Russia. The economic bloc doesn't want war because the financial system will collapse, Gudkov said. According to him, the Kremlin is aware of the risks of prolonging the aggression and plans to curtail it in the near future. Based on what happened a few months ago, it seems that the Kremlin made a basic decision that we would not fight until 2025. After 2025, it is not safe to fight because negative trends will increase, which could ruin the entire system. Maybe something has changed now. Maybe they decided to look into 2026, but they considered 2025 to be the last year in which Putin's Russia could fight, the oppositionist said. Recently, US Institute for the Study of War, ISW, said that senior Russian security officials seem to assess that Russia needs to intensify its war against Ukraine rather than seek a negotiated exit. They are not ready to give up the war because of heavy losses. Before presenting their conclusion, the analysts recalled a new article by Medusa. It stated that Russian security officials and the Russian military may recognize that Russian troops are not achieving significant territorial success proportional to the losses in manpower and equipment they suffer during the fighting. It was said that the Russian military command has so far suffered exorbitant personnel losses in exchange for tactical, but not operationally significant successes. In turn, Russian dictator Vladimir Putin's theory of victory is based on accepting such losses as long as the Russians continue to advance on Ukrainian territory.